You spend 4 hours on the living room floor, staring at a confusing instruction manual, twisting a tiny Allen wrench until your fingers have blisters. When you finally stand the bookshelf up, the objective reality is obvious. It leans slightly to the left, there is a visible scratch on the side, and you somehow have 3 wooden dowels left over. Yet 3 apartment moves and 5 years later, that wobbly bookshelf is still with you. You completely refuse to throw it away. Behavioral economists have a name for this specific, irrational attachment: the IKEA Effect. This chart visualizes the core discrepancy at play. The first bar shows the low, objective market value of the furniture you built, while the towering second bar represents your exceptionally high psychological valuation of that exact same item. We do not evaluate an object based on what it actually is. We evaluate it based on the amount of effort it cost us to acquire it. To understand why this happens, we have to look past the physical furniture and examine our cognitive architecture. The human brain suffers from 2 distinct categories of flaws. First are cold biases. These are simple data processing limits and mental shortcuts, like misjudging a statistical probability because you're in a hurry. Then there are hot biases. These are motivational distortions. They occur when our beliefs are warped by emotional desires, usually acting as a defense mechanism to protect our ego. The IKEA effect is a specific manifestation of a hot bias known as effort justification. Humans evolved to conserve energy. Because of that biological imperative, wasting our physical or mental effort causes genuine psychological pain. To spare us from experiencing that pain, the brain simply alters our perception of reality. This diagram shows the exact mechanism of the bias. When you combine high physical or mental effort with a mediocre reward, the immediate result is cognitive dissonance. It feels bad to work hard for a poor outcome. To resolve that dissonance, your brain applies a retroactive psychological markup. It artificially inflates your perception of the outcome until it balances out the energy you spent. The sweat, time, and frustration you poured into the task become the actual source of the perceived value. This blind spot bleeds far past the assembly of cheap furniture. It infects how we make decisions across the board. It leads directly to the sunk cost fallacy, which is our refusal to abandon a failing project entirely because of the time and money we have already invested in it. It also creates the not invented here bias. We will reject a vastly superior external solution simply because we didn't expend the effort to create it ourselves. Our ego's desperate need to justify our expended effort overrides our ability to evaluate quality and make rational choices. In the workplace, this explains why an executive will aggressively defend a business strategy that is actively losing money, because they were the one who designed it. The brain applies this same markup to our social lives, equating emotional labor with physical work. If you have spent years attempting to fix a toxic relationship, the ego refuses to admit that labor was wasted, making the bond feel more precious than the objective evidence suggests. This cognitive blind spot can be reverse engineered. If you want a user, an employee, or a customer to fiercely value a project or product, you must intentionally require them to exert effort. By introducing a small amount of friction or requiring users to contribute to the final product, you trigger effort justification on their end. That builds instant, powerful loyalty. So the next time you find yourself aggressively defending a flawed pitch, a failing project, or wobbly furniture, pause. You have to ask yourself, is this actually a brilliant outcome, or am I just admiring the reflection of my own effort? Objective value is measured by the quality of the result, separate from the exhaustion you felt while creating it.